The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Marner to McDavid. Marner to McDavid. Goal. Canada wins. USA loses. Hell yeah. Marner to McDavid. That's not what we're really here to talk about, but kind of what we're here to talk about. It's a part of the top five. Spoiler, yes, it will be a part of the top five, but top five best moments from the Four Nations face-off that just happened. Marner to McDavid. Did I say that yet? Marner to McDavid, Marner to McDavid, Marner to McDavid. Game done. Four Nations face-off winners. Canada, let's go. Top five list is top five winners from the Four Nations face-off. Let's start it. Number 5, Jacob Slavin. Jacob Slavin and / Thomas Harley / defensive defenseman, but more so Jacob Slavin, who really in this game, Canada versus USA, was the standout. He was a real highlight of this game in that he did it from a perspective of hockey that we don't usually spotlight, which is the guy who plays great defense. But for Jacob Slavin, his job is to play great defense. And he did that today against Canada. He did that all tournament long for the Americans. I thought it was a really special performance out of Slavin, and to do it on this stage, he's finally getting the recognition that he deserves, because, you know, you do it a long time in the NHL, and as a defensive defenseman, people don't notice you unless you also put up 60, 70, 80 points in the league. But in this tournament where it's so isolated, you really notice how important he is on the ice. Also, Thomas Harley, who stepped in for Makar on Saturday, stepped in today for Morrissey, just steady. And that's why I want to highlight at number 5, biggest winners of this tournament, defensive defenseman. Most importantly, Jacob Slavin. Secondly, Thomas Harley, who stepped in, was steady on the back end, didn't make any mistakes, and just did his job as a defenseman. So that's number 5. Number 4, biggest winner from the Four Nation faceoff, Montreal. Montreal as a city, Montreal as a hockey market. The first part of this tournament took place in Montreal. The second half took place in Boston. No disrespect to Boston and how they handled the 2 games that were there. 3 games? Since Monday, so 3 games. 3 games that they handled in Boston, the championship and all that. Raucous crowd, all that. But it still wasn't Montreal. And Montreal got to use the Four Nations face-off as a reminder of who they are as a city, which is, I'm going to say it, the best place on earth to watch hockey. Nothing compares to watching a game at the Bell Center. Nothing compares to the fans that live in Montreal, in Quebec, and go to those games. And what an unbelievable atmosphere they had at the Bell Center, showcasing once again that they're the best. You could have put this in New York. You could have put this in Toronto. You could have put this in LA, in bigger markets where the revenue might be higher, honestly, but they put it in the correct hockey market, which is the right thing to do from the NHL standpoint. So winners in this thing at number 4, Montreal, for showing off what a great hockey market they are once again. And speaking of putting this thing on, it's the NHL at number 3. You have to give kudos to where kudos are due. The NHL did a fantastic job making up this thing out of thin air. We've all wanted best on best for so long. They haven't given it to us, and they finally give it to us, and they finally say, here is the best on best, and we got it, and it delivered at the highest possible level it could have ever delivered at. We saw better ratings than the NHL's seen in decades, literally decades. They've never had ratings like this. They had a cultural impact where we've never seen the NHL matter at this point ever. This is insane that people care about hockey right now. So it's so fantastic that we get to see hockey mattering in this way and a cultural sporting landscape aspect. And we saw the NHL put on this phony tournament and it exceeded all expectations. It no longer was a phony tournament. It became a real competitive thing that we all truly cared about deep in our souls for national pride. And the NHL did a great job putting it on. So kudos to them at number 3, the biggest winners from the Four Nations face-off. Number 2, McDavid and Marner, in different ways, but in the same ways. A lot of people, I don't understand why a lot of people were getting on Connor McDavid late in the third and through the first and second periods of this Canada-USA game where they were like, McDavid needs to do more. McDavid's not doing it. He was all over the ice. he wasn't impacting the game in McDavid ways in that he just skate through and get what he wants, because the game is tighter. It's not in the NHL. This is all-star NHL where everybody out there is good. So I kind of understood why McDavid wasn't the McDavid, but he scores the game winner. Shut up, everybody. McDavid is McDavid, greatest player in the world. Team Canada, gold medal. And Mitch Marner and McDavid share the number 2 spot, because also somebody who received criticism for absolutely no reason. And then he shows up in the gold medal game, in the championship game, to deliver the primary assist to the winner, to McDavid. Shut everybody up. Also had an OT winner in the first game. So Mitch Marner criticism, can't really say anything now. The dude delivered on the big stage. McDavid also delivered with the goal. Number 2 biggest winners, McDavid and Marner for that. And number 1 biggest winner from the Four Nation face-off, Jordan Bennington. Ladies and gentlemen, the man nobody wanted saved our rear ends in the championship game and absolutely delivered for Canada in every single way that you could have wanted. What you want out of your starting goaltender is to just keep you in the game. But he went above and beyond that by saving the game for the Canadians on numerous occasions in overtime. I didn't want to root for Jordan Bennington. He's not my favorite goalie. I thought they had better goalies like an Adin Hill on the roster itself. I begged and pleaded for Canada to please give Adin Hill a chance at some point in this tournament, and they never did, and they made the right call, because in the moments when we needed him, Jordan Bennington stood up for Canada, made the saves he needed to make, and powered them to this championship. So number 1 biggest winner of this tourney, the man who can still do it. It might not be 2019, but he's still got that in his blood, and he knows how to win big games. He's won one in TD Garden before when he beat Boston in the Stanley Cup final. Now he's got another one, winning it for Canada. Gold medal. Those are the 5 biggest winners of the Four Nation face-off as we close it out and we get back to regular season hockey. Now that you're done this, hit like, hit subscribe, and then go watch my 5 biggest losers from the Four Nation face-off. That should be out right now, so go click that one and watch it. And yeah, hit like and subscribe. Thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be watching or listening right now, and I appreciate you for that. Good night from this happy Canadian.
And that is how it's done.
The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Jesse Blake, the guy that likes to hear his name twice in one sentence. Sure, I know him. No, he doesn't have an ego at all.